Hello and welcome to Hobby Vlog number 79. This week has been a good week in terms of progress on the model railway and a few other bits and pieces of projects. It's been a relatively busy week for work, and Rosie's been off school for 3 days of the week, which has been quite tiring for us. So a little bit less hobbying than expected, but still pretty cool. Still cracking on with the 20-minute painting as well, though you don't see anything of that in this week. Just because I'm no longer filming again. But yeah, it's been a good hobby week, and yeah, it's nice to stand here on a Saturday evening just before Sunday vlog day and start recording this video. I did want to say that I did have a little bit of a run-in with someone in the comments that was a bit of a gatekeeper, which is a big issue with me. I don't like gatekeepers. There's no place for excluding people based on anything really. You should just accept everyone into this hobby because it's a wonderful hobby for all talents and all skills and all amounts of time that you've got. It doesn't matter. If you're enjoying it, then that's all that matters. I'm not going to go on about that. I had a good conversation with the guy in the comments and he didn't realise what was going on. Don't care, you can be as rude as you want to me, but don't be a gatekeeper because yeah, that's really not cool. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say on the subject. I hope that everyone agrees with me that gatekeeping isn't a cool thing to do, and I'll wrap that up there. So let's get to the week, and I'll see you again at the end. A little bit of housekeeping here. I was prompted to drag these miniatures out of their shelving unit to show them off, and realised as I was showing them off that they're not finished. And I've been looking through all of my older miniatures that I've done, and quite a lot of them aren't finished. They're not based, which is rubbish. So what I'm going to do is start a little bit of a process of going through my cabinets and just bottoming out what's not done, and I'm going to do them very, very basically. As you can see, they do already have the sand and paint mixture. I did these quite a long time ago. These are Woses, if you're not sure, from the Middle-earth strategy battle game. And what I'm going to do, all I'm going to do is the following. I have a pot of my shop bought flock. I'm not going to do anything special because frankly they don't need special, they just need to be done because they're special miniatures. They're awesome. These were such fun to paint. Did them a little while ago now. Bought them second hand, unpainted, from a guy called Jonathan, who is a lovely bloke. So yeah, so we're just going to put a little bit of watered down PVA on, and then I'll get my flock and dunk it, and that there will be enough. So I might put some flowers on, what have you, later on. But I'm going to do the whole of this warband, including Gunbury gun, and yeah, they will then go back on the shelf and look nice. So after much pain, and no matter what anyone says, this was not easy to put together. It's beautiful now it is together, but that was fiddly and annoying. There was one bit here on the top of the head which took me literally 5 or 7 minutes of rotating, twisting to work out which way to put it, because the picture was completely unclear, the instructions were terrible, and it appeared to want to go in any number of 3 ways, and so I wanted to make sure that I actually got it completely right. So that was very frustrating, but it's made, and yesterday evening I put some primer on it, and now I'm going to start to paint it. I'm not fully decided yet whether I'm going to film all the painting process or just talk through what I've done. I'll decide that as I go through the evening. But yeah, I'm very excited to paint it. I think it's a beautiful looking kit, and the model is just stunning. I mean, it's so dynamic. It really is lovely. A massive improvement over the metal model, sadly. But yeah, so it's very, very detailed though. I mean, there's a lot of negative space, huge amount of negative space, and quite a lot of that negative space is very, very difficult to get to. And actually, even as I'm looking at this now, I can see bits of primer that I've missed. So it might even be that today ends up being a primer touch-up day. So if you're going to be painting this, don't expect it to go quick, and don't expect it to be a cakewalk, but do expect it, I think, to be worth it in the end. So we shall see. Let's get. I think I'm probably going to end up doing some priming, and I may not even get any paint on it this evening at all. Anyway, I spent an hour today, no exaggeration, an hour, priming up these fences for the model railway. So they need to be painted, which is probably going to take another hour because it's basically the same thing. But yeah, that's one pack and I've got 4 more packs to go. So I'm probably just going to go with what I've done there, see how far I get, and if I need more then I can always prime more. But I've got 1 gate as well. So this is going to go around the farm, and I will probably need more of these to go around. That's actually the farm building, obviously, to go around the fields. So yeah, but a little bit of progress, pushing onwards. So here we have the pieces for the house. Now I've had to scale it down as well by 65%, as even with it being split, it was just too big to fit onto the build plate. So I've scaled everything down by 65%, which has meant that some of these detail pieces are very thin, they're almost translucent. It's worked well though. There's going to be a little bit of tidying up. I have done a little bit of a attempted a test fit. Oh, you can also say I hollowed it and put some drain holes in as well, which worked well. Went from being 150 grams of resin for that down to about 40, which was a big saving in terms of risk for my FEP as well as money. So yeah, I've done a little bit of a test fit, and some of the pieces don't quite match up correctly, so they're going to need a little bit of shaving and what have you, but that shouldn't be too hard. The thing to point out is this item here. The design is that it has a little kind of like lamp, and you can stick an LED into this and it will allow you to light it up. Now I'm not sure whether I'm going to do that or not. One of the issues will be that I need to put the LED in a light packet, and electronics isn't my strong point. However, I am printing out this evening the actual lamp attachment that's going to be done in a transparent resin, which is another first as well. So the way that it works is you have your walls and they stand up like this, and you can see that that's where there's a hole there, so that marries up to there and it ties in very, very nicely. And then this wall will go there, and then the tree trunk will be here, and I'll paint it all up, and it looks really funky. It's just a nice little thing, very silly little thing. You've got a door with a door knocker, you've got the hinges for the door there, and as I say, we've got the little kind of window frame as well. So I've not done any clean up. That's just literally come off of the build plate and had the supports removed and been cured. So I'm going to glue that together now and paint it up, and I will probably show you what it looks like when it's done. I want this to be a quick video, but yeah, I'm very pleased actually that it scaled down okay and actually didn't have any print failures. So let's get started on this. Here are the 2 3D printed pieces that I'm going to put onto this base for the Moonstone Terrain, and you can see that this is on a piece of MDF which is actually stuck to this board to prevent it from warping. Now this is a test piece for this technique of how to prevent warping, and there will be, probably before this video goes live, so it probably will be in the footer of this video, in the description of this video, showing you what the technique is if you want to see a little bit more about it. But basically it's just been stuck down with masking tape to this board. And what I'm going to do is, the reason ironically enough I'm doing this is warping really, really badly. It's printed lovely, but it's warped too badly really for me to use. So I've decided that I'm going to do a base, and I think that's going to look really nice as well anyway, on a little bit more of a base with some more rubble and what have you going on around it. So the first thing that I'm going to need to do is to stick this down and then this down to the base. And what I'm going to be attempting to do is I'm going to stick the big flat bit, which is actually scaffolding going up around this in progress statue, in place first. So I'll clamp that, ironically, and then once that's done, then I will come along and I will glue that in place and weight that down, and then I'll be able to do the scenicking. Now I'm actually going to do this, glue this in place, and then I'm going to go away and paint, and I'm going to use this is going to be a little bit of an experiment in more than one way, because I'm actually going to try to do, for the first time ever, a kind of what's it called, marble effect on the statue. So I will bring you along for that. So, but the first thing I need to do is make sure that when I glue this down, it doesn't move and it stays in the right place. I'm just going to use PVA because I am going to be putting a lot more scenicking around the rest of this. So we'll just apply a load of PVA to the bottom and smear it around, and it will act as a good enough hold until we do the rest of the scenicking, and we'll make sure that that's going to be in the right place. There we are. And then I'm just going to come in with some clamps to hold it in place. Now the clamps are obviously holding the terrain piece in, not worrying about warping the base, and that's the key here. So just get a few of these clamps in. There we are. Right, so I will let that to dry, and then when that's dried, then we will be able to start doing the scenicking, but I won't do very much, because the next thing I'm going to do, and I'll bring you along for this, is I'm going to attempt to paint this using a marble effect. So let's see how that goes. Okay, so let's make a little bit more progress. I'm still mocking up how I'm going to do that. I had a very good suggestion from Chris in the comments on the vlog, so I'll probably be following his suggestion, to be honest. But in the meantime, what I've done, as you can see, is I've put some more of the bricks on the inside of the tunnel. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start to paint the tunnel. Paint the bricks and the tunnel faces as it happens. And I've got this paint here, which is my Africa, which is a kind of purpley grey type colour, which I really like. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to paint that all over all of the bricks. And then I will come back after I've painted this colour on it, and go over with a dry brush with red. So this is basically going to both seal and put a nice standardised colouring across, and also it will be the colour that the mortar will be. So it's a good idea to do. This is how I like to do my mortar. I know other people do it a different way, but this is how I like to do it. So I'm not going to film all of this because it will be a little bit dull. All I'm going to be doing is painting this colour. But once I've got this done, then I can start to actually fill in and do the tunnel, which is a really big step. So yeah, more progress on the model railway. I'm just going to start rolling on this now. I really need to do a little bit, at least a little bit every day. So the Africa has dried, as you can see, and here I've got the red paint that I really like to use for bricks. I think it's going to be really, really nice in this case. I do need to get some more, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to have a very dry brush, and I'm just going to come across and dry brush it all. Now it might seem pointless having done this because it was red underneath anyway, but it does mean that I'm going to be able to control and make it look a little bit more aged, as you can see. And also I can paint the bridge the same colour, which is going to be important for me. So I'm just going to get this done. It's quite late in the day now, and I'm not far off heading to bed, but this won't take me long. So I'll just run the camera, I think, maybe put some music on, and I'll get this done. That was about 5 minutes of work, which isn't too bad. I will look at that again in the morning. It's patchy at the moment. It may need another coat of the red, or I may just mix it up and do some different colours. I don't want it to look too clean. The rest of the build is going to be very clean and stylised, and I want this to be a little bit more realistic in terms of weathering. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that at the moment. And as I come along and do some more like scenicking around the base here and cover up this areas with grass and what have you, it will look a little bit better as well. So yeah, I need to get this done because then I can start to finish the tunnel area, which is what I'm really driving for this week. Something has happened that I honestly was thinking would never happen. My Flix has delivered. Look at that. So what we have here is a box of the miniatures, and the game, and here we have, I think it must be the mat. So yeah, pretty excited to receive this, or the mats, so I ordered more than one. So what I'm going to do now is get the boxes opened, and we'll have a quick look at what's inside, and yeah, just talk through what you receive. So pretty excited about this. So I've just done the initial opening because I don't want to show off my my address. And what we're going to do is going to see what's inside. Lots of stuff, packing, screwed up packing. These are obviously storage boxes, and here we have the game. I mean, this is, I mean, anyone that follows Discord, or sorry, follows Kickstarter will know that Flix has been a while. It's massively delayed, and the guy wasn't very good at communicating, unfortunately, and it was a bit of a shambles, to put it politely. Possibly also a shambles from his point of view as well, in that he had a lot of trouble apparently with suppliers and materials that they were quoted, and when it actually arrived as production it was different from what the test articles were like and stuff. So he had a whole lot of trouble, but finally I appear to have a game and the extra miniatures that I ordered. So the game is a flicking game, Flix, you'd have guessed, based in World War II, which is something I'm interested in. So let me get this open. I'm actually quite excited. I don't get that excited by games. I mean, sometimes I can seem excited, and I am excited. I was excited for Solomon Kane, and I was excited for Tainted Grail. But this was one of my earliest ever Kickstarters that I ever backed. There's a mosquito. And the whole concept of it just excited me. The simplicity of it excited me. The fact that what you do is you stick a plane on a dice, on a plate, and you flick it, and all you're trying to do is shoot each other down or bomb targets or what have you. Super simple to play, hopefully, and I'm really excited to get a game in. So you can see I've picked up quite a few extra models. The different colours based on whether they're British or German, from the looks of that. Yes, that's a German one. So yeah, so those are the extras I bought. Let's now have a look inside the actual box. Okay, so we have base planes, cards, dice, tokens, more dice, more planes, more cards. This is just going to be a very quick unboxing. I'm not going to go into detail on any of it because I will do a content on Flix. I've been very excited to do this, so there'll be specific content where I'll go through everything in major detail. But that's a nice size rulebook, some nice graphics in it. Be interesting to see how easy it is to pick up and understand. It's a long time since this campaign ran, so it's hard to remember. And then we've got, they're not double-sided, or they're not dual layer, unfortunately, but they do have a little dot there that you can put your dials into twist, which is pretty cool. So these are, we've got 2 British and 2 German from the looks of it. Yeah, these are the player boards. They're a little bit warped, not the greatest of quality, but I look after my stuff, so generally things survive quite well. So that's the first thing. I'm going to pack this away, and then I will have a look at the mats. Right, so I've had to come out to the 4x4 table because these are just too big to fit onto my workbench where I was looking at the other unboxing. And you can see these are the maps, and these are the mats that you can play on for different scenarios. So you've got like a Dunkirk map here. You've got a bombing target map. So this is an airfield, obviously, and what you're attempting to do is get your bombers over your targets, which is pretty cool. And then you've got the El Alamein as well, which has the same concept. So you can play various different types of scenario or game, or just shoot randomly if you want to, over the top of these 3 different maps. So these are the our mouse map material, as you can see, whatever, neoprene, whatever it's called. I'll get one out. I'm not going to get them all out because I haven't actually got anywhere currently to store these, but let's just have a quick. Yeah, that's smooth and feels pretty good quality. Pretty nice tight weave on the back. So I'm going to leave them in the plastic for now until I've worked out my storage solution, because I'm starting to get lots of these mats and I need to have somewhere good to keep them, which keeps them out of the dust but also accessible. So there we are, Flix has arrived. Big celebration time, and now I can't wait to get it on the table and actually have a game. So I've joined the cool model railwaying kids now. I've ordered some copy decks, which is pretty awesome. So what I'm going to do now is loosely glue in place this top of the tunnel. I'm happy enough with the colour that I've got inside the tunnel, and I don't need to worry too much about that now. And what this will mean is this can dry. I've got a couple of hours until I can get to this later, so this will be able to dry for a couple of hours, and then I'll be able to build up the area above it, which is very, very exciting. So just lay that on there and leave it. So yeah, the tunnel is taking shape. So the copy decks have stuck that down securely enough. Not massively securely, but securely enough. It will be much more secure once I've got the rest of the terrain in. And what I'm going to do now is do that. So I'm going to make use of a technique which worked very well for my Smaug's eye diorama, and I'm going to make use of cardboard, and I've got some masking tape here, and I'm going to build up a little bit of a rise over the top here, and I will worry about matching up to that as well. So we'll have a relatively flat with a little bit of a rise over the top. This probably will end up being replaced eventually, but it's going to be fine for now because polystyrene is not going to be hardy enough. I probably need to go for XPS or something. So it's going to be quite noisy because I'm going to be tearing paper and sticking it down. So I'll pop some music on and I'll build that up, and then what I'll do is, once I've got that to roughly the shape, I'm going to put a skim of the modelling compound over the top, and I'll probably mix up and do a little bit more kind of around this area here as well. So yeah, I'll put some music on and get this done. Well then, there we are. The tunnel is scenic. Well, scenic, the tunnel is sculpted. I'm not sure how well that came out because I was working on this side as well, but as you can see, I have filled in the gaps around the edges here as well. And yeah, if we come round here and look in, you can see it's pretty dark, but you can see that the wall does continue inside, which is basically enough. And yeah, I'm over the moon. So I'll let that go off, and then tomorrow what I'll be able to do is come along with more of this colour and paint that over it, and then I'll be able to put on top of here is where the hay field goes. So this is where there's the Scarecrow. The Scarecrow Secret is the name of the book. So the Scarecrow will be up here. So just to make sure that this dries nicely, and then yeah, we can paint on the rest of that colour and then finish off this part of the build. Fantastic. So I've been looking at these for the week, and I've realised that they are lacking something. They are lacking a little bit of variation on the base. So what I've got here is some homemade phlox and some tea leaves, and I'm going to do an extra step. I did think about this for a little while. I'm just going to do this through today. I haven't got very much time now. Rosie is just waking up. It's early Saturday morning. Daddy Day Saturday. Anyway, so I will basically use this to seal the flock that I put on already. So I need to do this application of PVA, watered down PVA over the whole base anyway, to seal in the existing stuff. What I'm then going to do is, this is dried tea leaves, and these look very much like leaves. I'm then going to do a very, very sparse scattering, like so, of tea leaves, like that. And then what I also have is different colours here. So I've got blue and red and yellow, which I can put on, and they act as a bit of a like flowers or what have you. So just very, very minimally. And when that dries, that will look really nice as a bit more variety. So I'm going to do that across the rest of these miniatures. If I can do this before Rosie wakes up, that'd be great. But if not, I may have to do this in a couple of batches. But yeah, and then that will be these done, bar painting the rims. I left that overnight, and that has dried enough for me now to be able to come along with the same grout mix as I've used everywhere all over this, which I'm going to use everywhere all over this for this kind of like sandstone effect. And I'm going to paint that on. So yeah, I won't run the camera. That's all I'm going to be doing, is painting on this this grout. I might need to mix up another mix. Didn't want to do too much. And then when that's dried, then we can come along, work out where the fences are going to go, which I'm still painting up, by the way. And then we can put the fences on and start to do the actual crops that are going to go up here. So anyway, there we are. It's really good, this, just trying to do something every day. That is the way to achieve things. Just a small amount every day. I mean, this is going to be all I'll do today, and it will take me no more than 10 minutes from starting the mix to finishing the painting. So there we are, bit of productivity. So here is a bee that I have 3D printed for Rosie. She loves bees, though recently she's started being a little bit scared of them. So hopefully that doesn't go on forever, because otherwise this will be a bit silly. But she does like bees, so I'm sure that she'll like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm about to glue this together, and then I'm going to paint it up, and hopefully it's going to look good. The file is not, it doesn't have any pictures or any kind of like very, very much detail of how it goes together, but I think I can probably muddle away with it. You can see that the head and the main part of the body goes in there. It's got sockets for the legs. These are the legs. It's got sockets for the antenna. This is not going to be a toy for Rosie to play with actively. It will go onto her shelf of special things, along with the damaged ladybird that I've replaced now by 3D printing. And yeah, so I'm probably not going to film all of this because it's going to be a little bit of a faff in terms of lining things up. As you can see, I'm not totally sure how things line up. But once I've got it assembled, I'll show you how I'm going to go about painting it, because I'm going to be doing, I think I'm going to spray paint this just so that it's hard wearing, and I'm going to try out some masking techniques. So yeah, I'm probably not going to glue on the legs at this stage, but I might do if I decide to do brush painting. I might stick the legs on. But I'm certainly not going to stick the wings in yet, and the wings go, I'm not sure where. We'll work that out. Actually, there's a little gap there, so I think the wings go on this part of the body, but I'll have to look at the picture to work that out, I reckon. Anyway, I will get this done, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's glued together. So that wasn't too bad to glue together. I'm now kind of wishing that I'd done my original idea, which was to spray paint each of the sections the colours, so yellow, black, leave that so yellow, yellow, yellow. But now I'm going to have to hand paint it, obviously, because I'm probably not going to want to spray. I'd have to mask a lot of stuff, but I might still spray paint it. But what I have just realised is that I should have printed out 2 sets of the wings, and I didn't realise. So that means that I'm going to probably have to print that tonight or tomorrow, and I won't be able to finish this for in the same day, as I was hoping to just get it all done, because I'm going to need to print out some more of these transparent wings, and I'm probably going to have to put another few things onto the build plate, so I'm not only printing out that, waste of time otherwise. So yeah, everything else fits together nicely. The legs go in really nicely, they're relatively obvious, so you have the straighter ones go at the back, and they slot into the little holes quite nicely, but they obviously will need to be glued, otherwise they just fall out, as you can see. But yeah, that's a pretty cool little model. I'm pretty happy with it, actually, to be honest. I think she's going to really like it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and paint it, however I work out how I'm going to paint it, and I'll show you. And I'm also going to get a build plate together to run off a couple more of these wings, and some other bits and pieces probably as well. So there we are. That is assembled and ready to be put into the garden. Very, very, very cool. So that's paint with Vallejo burnt red, and then old white or aged white, and then a little kind of wash of gold around the lamp. I've decided against putting any kind of electrics in it, just because it's totally outside of my abilities at the moment, and I really want this to be in the garden. Now, what I also think is I may print this bigger at some point and replace it, or add another one, if I ever do get an FDM, and I think it would be easier for me then to put in an LED and what have you, because having shrunk it down 65%, it's quite a tight fit. And I'll use the spray yellow to do the door, which I think looks quite nice as well. It's a very, very basic. It's been varnished heavily because it's been going out into the sunshine, obviously. I don't think it will last the year. I think it'll probably break down, but it'll be interesting to see how long it does last, and hopefully Rosie will love it. So I'm going to go now and put this into the garden and wait for her to find it. So that's worked really well. I've done 2 or 3 coats of yellow, Vallejo strong yellow or whatever it's called, can't remember now, and I've not painted the rest of the body because it was already black. Well, that looks great. So now I'm waiting for the extra set of wings to print off. What I'll do next is I will glue the legs on and leave that to go off, and then the wings will be printed off later today, and that'll be another little project finished for Rosie, which I hope that she really likes. So there we are. So that's all been painted with the grout mix all the way around there as well, and on the top. And as you can see, I've also made some progress painting up the fences. So I've got 4 lengths plus a gate that have been painted on both sides and will now be ready for fitting. And I've got another 4 or 6, I can't remember exactly, that are primed but not painted yet. So I'm just doing them in little batches, just in my evenings. It's a bit of a dull and awkward and annoying process, so it takes some time. But yeah, so I think the next thing for me to do actually is not finishing off the grass and what have you up there, but working on this bit here, I think. So I'll be doing some modelling compound along here, and then basically finishing this texture all the way around, stain up the sign, glue that in place. I'm currently debating whether I put it up on legs like this or not. I will probably talk with Angela and see what she thinks, get her input. She's got some good ideas. It's always worth asking those sorts of things. And then just try to scenic all the way around the outside, probably including the road, because then I could do all of this in one go with the static grass, rather than doing it in patches, which will just make it look nicer anyway if I do it all together. So yeah, really, really, really good progress at the moment. Just a little bit every day. That's the way to get things done. Well, there you are. What a fun week. Really, really fun, as I said. And the progress that I'm making on the model railway for Rosie is just filling me with joy. And also the fact that I've been able to do a few projects that are just for Rosie as well. It kind of is where my making's going a little bit more. I'm still enjoying all the other stuff, but having her growing up and being able to inspire and encourage her by making little things like hopefully she'll enjoy finding this house and play around with it, and it'll help her imagination. and her fascination with bees, can't knock that, and also dinosaurs. She's learned how to say Velociraptor this week, which is pretty cool. So yeah, it's been a good week, and I hope that you've enjoyed watching it, and if you have made it this far, thank you very much for having the patience and putting up with my rambling. So I'll stop rambling now and I'll wrap up by saying please stay healthy, stay safe and stay well.